Stephen. That was awesome stuff down there. It's great to see them enjoying their motorsport. And yeah, one more race to come for Somerset GT New Zealand. NEXEN Tyre NZ Mazda Racing Series coming your way. Andrew Waite's worked his way from upstairs. As we confirm the grid, Rex Edwards and Sam Dashfield have been the class of the field so far in the RX8s this weekend. Callum Pratt and Carl Gaines go off the second row of the grid. Jesse Gold and Leo Bolt off of P6. A great field, 21 cars. The big story for mine will be Stu Lawton, who's shown us starting this one from 21st place.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to have to be starting all the way back down there, but I think this race is really shaping up. There's a little bit of argy-bargy starting to creep in, a few inquiries after the race that was just earlier on today. So I think the gloves will be off for this one, shall we say.
It's all good fun until the stewards get involved and the discussion starts. So there are 10 laps, the scheduled duration for this one. Really well presented Mazda Racing Series field. So we set the scene for a massive afternoon of racing. Still a lot to come your way. So if you're watching us on Stuff Speed Hub, hope you're enjoying it. For starters, GTR New Zealand up after this for their third and final race. So that's GT3 and 4, then Shell Lubricants Super V8s. And then we roll in just after 3 o'clock to Bridgestone GR86, their third and final race. And if you weren't with us this morning for race 2, it was an absolute beauty. And it set ourselves up for a finale that will be blockbuster viewing. And then there's some more Somerset GT New Zealand after that. So a massive afternoon of non-stop motorsport here at Taupō International Raceway for the opening round of NEXEN. It is a stunning day in this part of the world, Andrew Waite. 18 degrees, not particularly humid, gentle breeze blowing across the racetrack as well.
Yeah, it's couldn't get any better for racing with these sort of conditions. It's maybe a little bit of cloud cover if you want to get picky to be a fast driver, but we're not worried about that. We want to see all the action, and a bit of a hot track brings in a little bit of sideways action, so bring it on. If there's going to be any sideways action and a few passes going on, it is going to be in this race right here.
A local told me with good authority last night, if you can see the mountain, it's a good day, and we could see the mountain there across the lake, looking stunning. So we're ready for the Mazda Racing Series. Rex Edwards is car number 16. Sam Dashfield, conveniently, car number 17 alongside. Watch for Stu Lawton off the back. He's been one of the pace setters in the championship this year, but it's been a really tough weekend for the guy that came into the weekend second in the standings. So he's got some work to do in this one. We wait for the starters' orders. The big field of Rotaries will spool themselves up and get ready to launch down towards turn 1. You can see the lights, and they'll go out, we'll go racing. Last race of the weekend for the Mazdas. Oh, it's busy behind, and there was contact. And there's damage. A left front corner's been pulled out of one of the cars a little bit further back. It's busy behind Rex Edwards, squeezing through. It's the 92 car of Matt Templeton. So, yeah, it zigged and zagged in the middle of the field there, and they were 4 wide for a moment. And I'm not sure if someone had a slow start, but there's big damage, and that's his race done, starting from 8th position.
That is what you call a shocker weekend for him. He's had so much pace all weekend, and things just have not been going his way from that little mishap in the race yesterday while he was out in the lead, and things have just not been going his way at all. So it's a real shame for Mac there.
So he's parked on the right-hand side of the racetrack on sort of no man's land between turn 2 and turn 6. They'll be watching that from race control, see if they can get that recovered before the field comes around. Otherwise, it is in a position you'd think where they're going to need a safety car. But we'll wait for that call. The field, meanwhile, sorts themselves out through the fast right-hander and up the hill. And it's Rex Edwards who leads the way. Sam Dashfield next. So there's more damage through this. Leo Bolt has got issues.
It'll be off that start of the race there when we would have seen Matt get into the back of him there. So that's a massive damage for him as well. So he'll be pulling into the pits, I would say, when he can get the car back around. It's a good initial launch for the start of the race for Sam Dashfield. He got away nicely in that initial jump, but he just didn't quite get that next part of the start right. So he did everything he could to try get around the outside of Rex Edwards. We know how fast Rex has been, but we've got the safety car out now.
Yeah, the recovery team have been on fire this weekend, but it's not the longest lap in the world. So they've only got so much time to get the tow hook attached and get that car dragged to safety. So the right call is to bring out the Toyota Supra GR safety car. So let's unpick this. Oh, so it was a brilliant start from Templeton was what it was, and slow away for Mac. So, well, Mac Templeton it was in the 92 car, wasn't it?
Nothing he could have done in that situation. You could see he's got white gloves. You could see him turning quickly to the right-hand side to get around it. But that's just when it's not your weekend, it's not your weekend. And that's exactly what's happened there for Mac. So
it was Leo who was slow away, which is why he's got the damage on the back of his car. And unfortunately, Mac taking evasive action. He's had steering lock on. And while the wheel's been very much exposed to a slow-moving Mazda in front, it's torn that left front corner out of the 92 car and going nowhere. Safety crew have got him recovered and hopefully out of harm's way so we can get this race back underway. They've done an amazing job this weekend. The recoveries this weekend have been electrifyingly quick, and the amazing volunteers that donate their time so that we can enjoy some great car racing on a beautiful day in this part of the world. We thank them sincerely for all their efforts and allowing us to go racing. Quite literally, couldn't happen without them.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. If they weren't here doing their job and giving up their weekends, we just simply wouldn't be racing. So it's just fantastic to have them all here, and they're just such a happy bunch to be here, being part of it all. And I'll tell you what, it is actually very cool standing on a flag marshal point and helping out. Myself and Brendan Leach did it once at Highlands Motorsport Park for a race weekend there. We were on the bridge as you go up over Highlands for the day, doing a bit of volunteer flag marshalling, and we had an absolute ball of a day. It is so much fun, and it's accessible to anyone. So anyone that wants to get involved, it's such a cool thing to be a part of, and you know, it allows us to all go racing too.
Yeah, head to the Motorsport New Zealand website to find out how you can get involved. Your local car clubs will have some involvement. Wherever you're watching in New Zealand, you can get involved at any of the local racetracks, or even beyond that at little club events, motorcarnas, whatever it might be, rallies as well. I don't know if you've ever stood on a rally stage and watched those guys do their work, but that is completely insane.
Yeah, that is another level as well, isn't it? Just another whole level of respect for those guys. It's even though it's still got four wheels and a steering wheel, it's a completely different discipline.
I would love to get a censored version of the recording of you and Brendan Leach standing talking for a day, because I imagine that was pretty engaging conversation between the two of you.
Oh, it was pretty cool. It's not something you see every day, because you're in the cars. You don't see what actually goes on when you're that close up to the action. So getting that chance is something pretty special.
It's good late. Brendan Leach had a ripper season in Aussie GT racing this year and internationally as we get set for a restart in the NEXEN Tyre Masters. So Rex Edwards will lead the field back to green. Decent restart, but it's busy behind. Dashfield has to move across to cover his line from Gaines behind him, and there's a big squeeze and there's contact as well. A little bit further back, Creel it was in the 22 making contact. Good bit of car control to hang on to it. Callum Pratt's making some move in the 79. The leaders, though, blissfully unaware of what was going on behind them.
Yeah, it's starting to really shape up this race, isn't it? You can see them up over turn number 4, that difficult corner, hard to see where you're going as you arrive at the top of it. And that's one thing you don't notice from when you're sitting here watching watching what's going on. When you're actually in the cars, you can see the rear wing, so that affects your vision completely. You can't see anything in front of you, so you're physically relying on what the car in front of you is doing. You put your car where they're putting their car. As we get a look at this restart, it was actually quite a slow getaway from Sam Dashfield there, and that's what sort of concertinaed everything, is to see a few cars there getting into each other into turn 1.
It was Jesse Gold in the orange car in the middle of that pack that sort of everything centered around him, because he was held up by the car directly in front of him on the restart, and everyone had to split either side to get that pass done. Carl Gaines under pressure from the 22 car of Stown Creel, who's got a spot over Gould after that restart. Confirmation of how baking it is here today. Ambient temperature about 18, but the track baking in the UV here. A lot of sunburnt people in the paddock too. 44 degrees C at the moment, so that overheats the tyre really quickly. Big move down the inside at 12.
Yes, a few sunburnt people, including yourself. Got to dim that camera down when we get to you.
True story.
That New Zealand sun, eh? It's got you.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Massively rookie error on my part.
Spot the Aussie.
Yep. Pretty clear to see. Around the outside goes Goulds.
Stian Kirill's having a great race in this one. He's usually up the front fighting for that top 3 position, and it's just taken him all weekend to really lift up to where we expect him to be. So he's having a great race here, and this is a great way for him to finish the weekend. He's been super competitive over the last couple of seasons, so to be finally up there in the top 3, he's really coming on, and he's got a lot of pace as well. He's just passed Carl Gaines here. We saw how quick Carl was in that last race also.
Elton Wichman making a move on Lance Gerlach, who came into this weekend in the top 5 in the championship, and they went side by side, and the pass was done, but Gerlach's going to get the spot back, and that opens the door to Stu Lawton, who gets back up the inside. Now, are my eyes deceiving me, or is Stu running a different car than he was yesterday? Because I'm pretty certain that was a bright yellow car, but he did have issues in race 1. Regardless, he's charged his way up to 13th from the back of the field. He was second coming into the championship, coming into this weekend in the championship after round 1 at Manfield about 5 weeks ago. So he's making some ground, looking to salvage some championship points. Rex Edwards out in front, margin 1.6 seconds. Brilliant restart from him as this battle continues for 3rd and 4th place.
He's been quick all weekend. He's sort of been there or thereabouts, and then this race here is where he's really come into his own. He made that little mistake in the first race. He would have been kicking himself after that slight mistake into turn 1 where he outbraked himself, but now he's just got good composure. The car's obviously really good underneath him, and it's allowing him to start pushing on that bit more.
Battles all the way through the field. Lance Gerlach in the 38. Getting gobbled up a little bit here, and Lawton gets down the inside of 1. He gets down the inside of 2 as well. So passes Alexander Canty and gets that spot. So he's now charged his way into the top 10. Started this one 21st. Half race distance. Plenty more cars in front that he can get to by the end of this one. This has been a ripper drive from Lawton, who works his way into the top 10 now. Oh, a spin for Brian Walker, that is, in the 62. Pack and save car. He's down in 14th position.
Fastest lap of the race, Rex Edwards. That is a seriously quick time, a 1:43.2. That's nearly a second a lap quicker than what anyone else is going. So that's a massive lap for him. That's what this NEXEN tyre does. It allows the drivers to just keep pushing on throughout the race. It doesn't fall off like you see other tyres do. So he's done a great job with that, and that's a massively fast lap time for him. So that's really opened that gap out to well over that 2-second mark.
This battle continues. Lawton gets a really good run out of the hairpin and will draw side by side with Elton Wichman, who was involved in that pretty furious battle down at turn 1 a couple of laps ago. This is another pass, so this is for 10th. Oh, a bit down the inside. It's a deceiving camera angle because it looks like you're going to get down the inside there, doesn't it? But you can take a couple of different lines into that left-hander.
It's a very, very awkward one when you're running side by side with someone into there, because when you're on the brakes, you're trying to turn the car, but at the same time, it gets very hard to do that because of all that load on the front end of the car. It can start understeering, and it's very, very difficult to get too wide through there. And throughout the whole entry and then exit, both of you at some point are going to be on the dirtier race line where all the rubber pick up and all the dirt's got onto over the weekend. So it's a very, very hard place, and it certainly takes 2 to tango to be able to get through there safely.
Halfway through. Oh, Lawton with a big slide. Manages to hold on to the 46 car, but there was a lot of oversteer. That's when the rear wants to overtake the front. Driving the car on the throttle, really nicely balanced on the exit there, but it's generally not the fast way around, and pretty hard on the rear tyres as well. The flames belching from the back of these RX-8. What a category this has been in NZ, and the RX-8 was introduced into the Mazda Racing Series in 2014-15, and it's gradually evolved and developed into being the predominant car in the category. You can run other Mazdas in it if you wish, but this has become such a good product and such a good package. There's one make Mazda Racing Championships all the way around the world, and the RX-8s, there's 2 different series racing in Australia with those cars. So hands up for a Trans-Tasman series at some point. That'd be great fun, but it's such a good package, and it produces really good racing like this, and it's affordable motorsport. They sold a lot of RX-8s, so there's bits and pieces around. You can go and buy cars from wrecking yards, you can buy spare parts, rotary engines to put in, and and really affordable, really competitive motorsport.
A great way to get into it for sure, and they do what a proper car should do. Some cars, when you get into them, you've got to do different driving styles to be fast in them. But I know these Mazdas here, you've got to drive it like a proper race car to be fast, and that's where the guys who are quick always come to fruition, always end up at the front of the field. We've seen some very fast drivers from New Zealand in these as well. Tom Alexander, who's a well-known name in New Zealand, who's done a lot of racing here and overseas in Australia. The V8 Super U champion over in Australia.
Yep.
And he did a couple of races in this, and he's able to jump in there and be very fast in these as well. So it shows that it's a proven platform that anyone can jump in and be fast in.
Lap 6 was the first lap this race where other drivers were quicker than Rex Edwards. So a 48.3 for Sam Dashfield as we go back and pick up some moments in the braking zone into the right-hander for Alexander Canty.
Yeah, so they would have all kicked off over turn 4. As we talk about all weekend, it's so slippery if you get offline out there, and if you run just a little bit wide, it gets very awkward, because then as you exit, if you get into the grass, you then need to be on the brake to stop the car for the next corner. So that's where it's compounding, where you end up in 2 corners with you know, running wide off into the marbles. But lucky it wasn't any worse here for Canty and ending up in the gravel trap.
To fight another day. Yeah, on that point, Sam Dashfield took a 10th out of the leader last time round, but it was the first time this race where Rex Edwards hasn't been quickest. You touched on his pace before. Unbelievable lap speed. And 44.2 for the race leader. 1 minute 43.7 for Sam Dashfield. So Edwards did press on really hard after that restart. I wonder if he's just taken the best out of his tyre as this race works its way down to its conclusion. 3 laps remaining, including this one. The margin's still 1.9 seconds, but even if Dashfield gets to him, getting past is going to be another challenge altogether. It's going to be a massive challenge.
We saw in race 1 yesterday, they were battling away, so hard to pass each other, but that gap now under 2 seconds is when you start getting under that 2-second mark, that's when you instantly start closing up that little bit quicker. For Rex Edwards, you start using your mirrors just that little bit more, which draws in Sam Dashfield. He's got that motivation now. He's going, I can do this. I've got the lap speed. Can he close down with 2.5 laps to go?
The attitude of the car indicates that he is trying. He will throw everything at it. And one little mistake from Edwards is all that Dashfield needs to get there. Here's down Creel. He's in 3rd place. Carl Gaines in 4th. He's got Jesse Gold just up behind. So this is a good battle for 4th and 5th place. Mark Odney in 6th position, then Callum Pratt, Nigel Edgar. Stu Lawton's climbed to 9th from 21st. As this fight continues, Gold looking left and now right. So he'll look to go the long way round. Really good exit out of the hairpin. And he could get this one done before they turn in to turn 12.
Yeah, that's the important part, to cover that line, and just as he's done there, down into the last section of corners as they come across the start-finish line. We have a look at their lap times. Again, another 2:10s for Sam Dashfield. Closes that gap up to 1.7 seconds. Not a lot of time left in this race to go, though.
Jesse Gold's got a second to get to the back of Creel in 3rd place. So I wonder if there's a little battle to be had there before the end of this one. Stu Lawton's got 2.6 seconds, by the way, to Nigel Edgar in 8th place. So I think his charge from the back of the field might end up in 9th place unless there's any drama further up the road. Visibly closer now as they run towards turn 6 and 7. Left-hander, a lot of camber on that corner. And then up towards the Taupō Car Club, which is on the right-hand side as you get to the braking zone for the hairpin. You can see the landing strip in the background. We've had light aircraft flying all day. The gliders have been very active this weekend. And this morning there was some remote control aircraft being very well demonstrated for the people here at the racetrack. So it's a real hub of activity in and around the Taupō Motorsport Park. Here they are. This was outstanding work. That's remote control, by the way. Get you on the RC plane, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't know how good I'd be on that one, trying to keep that up in the air, but they're certainly doing a good job with that, as we see once again this gap starting to close in just that little bit more, but we're starting to head towards that last lap. Don't quite think it's going to be enough. He's going to have to force Rex Edwards into some sort of mistake.
Mine would end up There's a piece of debris on the side of the racetrack that will probably need a
second
safety car. Oh, what a commanding drive for Rex Edwards. There'll be one to go this time by. The margin's 1.4. It's come down another 3/10. So Dashfield throwing everything he possibly had, and last time by set his best lap of the race, 1 minute 43.56. Quickest lap of the race for car 17. So he's going down swinging, but he's going to run out of laps, you'd think. And the way that Rex Edwards driven this weekend, he's been smooth and controlled and really consistent out in front. And he did the work early in this one to build that margin. That's the Dashfield team watching on from the pit lane, monitoring the margins on the timing, watching if there's a mistake from car number 16 out in front.
Yeah, that gap for this last lap really needed to be within 1 second as they started the lap to have any real chance of a fight during this lap, but it is still slowly closing up. Rex Edwards still pushing on. You can see the attitude on the car as he makes his way through turn 9.
Jesse Gould still challenging for third place, with 6/10 behind the 22 car as they crossed the line last time by. And that might be another battle that runs out of time. Gee, it feels like if there was one more lap, Dashfield might be a shot at this one, because he has got very close on the final lap of this race for NEXEN Tyre Mazdas. But Edwards has driven superbly. He got the lead into turn 1. He then survived a safety car and a beautifully well-judged restart that built a 2-second margin. It's been whittled down lap after lap by Sam Dashfield at the end of this one. But Rex Edwards is going to get the victory. In race 3 for NEXEN Tyre Mazda, the margin at the line is 0.8 of a second, so it came down 5/10 on the last lap. This is for third, super close, and Gold misses out by 0.1.
And another grandstand finish there. We saw in the race this morning, side by side for 2 cars across the start-finish line for second place between Rex Edwards and Carl Gaines. But then this one, a little bit further down, Stian Kirill doing a good job.
Great drive for Stewie Lawton from the back of the field. 21st he started to end up in 9th position in that field, and he set his fastest up of the race on lap 10 out of 10. So he was pushing right to the end, and he was one of the quickest cars on the racetrack. Sam Dashfield, 43.4 on the final lap. Took half a second out of Rex Edwards in the final 3.3 Ks of that race. It felt like the 16 was a bit out on his feet at the end, and Dashfield was longing for another lap of Taupō.
And that's what I mean. Once you get under that 1 second gap, it's like a rubber band effect. The closer you actually get, it seems to bring you even further in. So that's what seemed to happen there, as he got it well within 1 second on that last lap.
Confirmation of results. Look how close it was for third and fourth place in the end. Really good battles throughout that, with Gould and Gaines were in the mix there. Callum Pratt too. Stewie Lawton climbed into the top 10. Some dramas at the start. Leo Bolton, Mac Templeton, unfortunately, a start line crash. Bolt was slow away and Templeton had nowhere to go. And this is how it played out. Left of screen, a little bit of drama at the start, and that was all she wrote for those 2 cars. Too badly damaged to continue, with the left front corner pulled out of Mac Templeton's number 92 car. It really spread the field. They were so busy going down into turn 1. Rex Edwards got the better jump out in front though. And this was the fighting on the opening lap as some cars limped their way back, and ultimately Templeton couldn't limp back, and that brought out the GR Supra safety car for the first time. This was the restart. This is probably where Rex Edwards won the race, because behind him it was boxing on for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th place.
Yeah, great start from Stian Kirill up the inside there, making his way to 4th and then getting another position as well. But there was no stopping Rex Edwards. Sam Dashfield doing everything he can to close it down.
Really high quality driving between the two of them. Lots of pressure for the race leader, but he did not bat an eyelid at that. Sam Dashfield got to within 8/10 as they crossed the line. The battle for 3rd and 4th was super close as well. But Rex Edwards gets the win in the NEXEN Tyre NZ Mazda Racing Series. It's been a great weekend. That's been round 2 of their championship. It all kicked off at Manfield. They'll continue to feature across the summer of motorsport here in New Zealand, and NEXTGen NZ Motor Racing Championships, brought to you by Repco. The highlight of their day as they get down into the podium, and a chat with our own Stephen McIver to debrief the race